Hello YouTube, this is Tofu speaking, and it's been a very long while since my last video. I do apologize for the lengthy delay. That's because I do have a lot of in real life stuff, and there's quite a lot of research I need to do anyway for the next year, so this is quite the belated sneak peek video. I usually try to make these videos before the start of the month, but since the banner hasn't actually started yet, I think this is a good place to start making this sneak peek video. So what's coming up in the next month? I have to congratulate everyone here that we are finally leaving the Stone Age of priconne. No longer just using Eriko Obsession or Jita Tempest Blade or measuring how much frames you have with your, I don't know, your hitbox. The frames of absolute magical defense shred or physical defense shred. No longer you will be subjected to such misery, because now there's new Year Kyaru and she just ignores everything you know about CB, throws them out of the window and just says spam UB. Yes, we are now entering the beginning of what we call the spam UB era, because that's what basically the next 2 years of CB is going to mostly be on the magic side at least. Nyaru is finally here. I think everybody's been looking forward to Nyaru for 2 years. Everybody's been saving, everybody's preparing, everybody's grieving, everybody's profiting, everybody's everything just for this one beautiful moment. December 2022. Year 2 of December, the last month before 2023, and the infamous rank 15.6 or 16.3. Well, no, never mind. I will avoid trying to speak the word there because it'll be mentioned a lot, heavily referenced in this entire video. So not just Nyaru here, there's a bunch of other power spike updates in this month, and you don't want to miss any of them, honestly, including this and the early parts of January, because that's where the beginning of what you probably know as modern priconne, really, with the UB spamming, slinging, full animation game as you know it. Also the rank 16.3 bit, yeah, it's kind of nuts for physical and the people who are actually moving up there, but most mages are not moving up there, and we also will have level break starting from this month, so it's not going to be a big boon for most characters. Maybe for PvP it is quite a big boon, but for most characters it certainly isn't. So first I would like to mention about the new 6-star that's coming this month, and well, I think you already know who she is. Yes, of course, it's Yukari 6-star. Who else would you think it will be? I already did a short summary about her in my 6 stars you don't want to miss video, so I'm just going to do a short reference to that video instead. So Yukari 6-star is basically a tank now because of the increased stats that she gets from her 6-star ascension, and also the fact that her new Union Burst is now able to heal herself and all her allies, as well as providing a bigger magic barrier buff and increased magic defense buff. This basically says she role compresses most tanks that heavily relied on Rima back then. Sure, Rima is still slightly better, but Rima basically just really functions more as a buffer for full backline teams now, and Yukari is better for a more general context in a sense because of the fact of how she works, and she paved the way for future 6-star to be designed as a sort of counter check to the meta that they're in. Not necessarily for Yukari though, because Yukari is as timeless as it gets. She again is a midline tank. She compresses stuff that you would normally see on a tank, say like Shizuru. She makes Shizuru obsolete, because why use Shizuru when you can just use Yukari to function as both the Shizuru and the tank, basically. So it makes her very strong in many situations. And of course, this Yukari still is powerful even on rank 12 and also at Giga Max, although for CB it is still recommended for you to keep her at rank 12. Everything else should stay the same for Yukari though. There isn't really much to change, and it just basically makes Yukari into the eternal support that you probably know from the start of the game. It's like, oh yeah, Yukari is really good. Now she is actually really good. So you definitely want to farm her, but you don't need to actually DA her day 1 because we're not in Arena Shuffle yet. Maybe Maho, but not her. So I'm going to just gloss over the new unique equipments for this month because I don't think they are super exciting. Well, maybe some of them are, but most of them are pretty quick and dirty to explain. So I'm just gonna do it quick and dirty as well. So the first one I'm really interested in is actually New Year's Ray because I'm actually invested in her since day one when I managed to 5-star her and she works really well in many teams. And she finally gets her UE, which actually makes her actually better than before. The most important part about her UE is actually the 1.5 single target stun, which is really strong for a character like her, but nowadays with people starting to put Rima on every team, like the stun doesn't really matter because they just have Rima's absorb the stun. Although it is an action one, so it does help to stun something like your face tank or Kasumi face tank. Although she probably would lose to Kasumi face tank anyway because Kasumi is faster than her depending on the situation. If you put Rei on defense, that means Kasumi is going to stun her and she loses. But if you put Rei on offense, she can stun the Kasumi as well. Although Rei is still better for teams that rely mostly on her global UB stun over the UE and the skill basically. But the most important part about her unique equipment is that she actually gets a decent substat lineup, which is physical defense, magical defense, and physical attack. Not much really is important about the physical attack, but 110 magical defense on UE level 150 is extremely big for a character like her, which is supposed to be a magic tank. And 26 physical defense also is no slouch either, since we're actually moving to a more magical defense, magical attack oriented meta. Year's Ray is well positioned to be a decent tank for physical, as well as a decent sub tank for control teams that rely mostly on EO or something like Tsumugi, for example, if you still run the Tsumugi teams. And Ray is still one character that you should consider. The next character I would like to gloss over is Yui. Yui is also very strong because now she has Magic Defense Shred. No longer you rely on Summer Kyaru for Magic Defense Shred, you can now roll compress Summer Kyaru and use Yui into one single package. The only issue with Yui is that she has a weird substat lineup. It has two really good substats in TP boost and TP regen. However, it also has magical defense. So there is a bit of a balance you have to take here in accordance to her level, the UE level of course. Of course she stayed 3-star, and also that the fact that Yui is still very strong in what she does. You have to just level the UE on a tightrope, maybe wait for timelines, or you want to check on timelines to see the best UE level for you. But for me, keeping a UE at level 1 for now is pretty much a given because of how strong Yui is going to be now and in the future in Kyaru meta, because she fits really well there because of her UE giving M-Dev Shred. And also the last one, which is probably the most important here, is finally New Year's Yuri. She has received a pretty, what in the paper is actually pretty wet, but actually if you go down deep enough, it is actually the most important UE of this month. Now she actually gets an action 1 physical crit buff alongside the physical attack buff from her skill 1 as well previously, and a physical defense shred union burst. So what this means is basically she's a better original Makoto. Yes, so original Makoto is now benched because Yuri does more. Sama Makoto is still used because she has a better shred, she has higher shred values, but Yuri has better offense capabilities. She is not only a physical defense shredder and an attack buffer, but she also gives crit up to everyone on the team. Sure, right now that magic teams are sidelined for now, magic teams are better, because physical teams are sidelined for now because why don't you want to do triple Kyaru without lock barrier? Just ludicrous. You basically just run Kyaru three times. But if you do want to run physical, Year's Yuri is going to be your Makoto replacement, the most effective version. Thus meaning that physical teams might just be a bit too restricted by the fact that you need a limited unit to actually work instead of just using clan coins to get Makoto. Sure, Makoto is still good, but Year's Yuri has more utility and is able to contribute to higher DPS on the team overall. The only issue is that you either pull her now or you have to wait 1 year later when she's completely obsolete. Either wait. So in other words, if you are in a tryhard CB, I guess you don't need to watch my vids if you're in a tryhard CB, right? You pull her, right? You pull her. If you're a top 50, she is a luxury item. You can wait for Liberista, or you can just spend for her and Liberista if you have the money. And anything below that is completely optional to pull her because you can just spam Kyaru 3 times as usual. So finally, it is the time that you've been waiting for. I've been trying to delay this for as long as possible, but alas, it is now time for the inevitable. The time for priconne to change forever. The time where Power Grip goes off the rails, and it all started with a black cat. Well, I guess this cat does not need much introduction. All she needs to do is to spam New Year's Burst every 3 seconds and you're good to go. Every single team that's related to Kyaru will always feature a TP battery and a magic defense shred. And to facilitate this extreme level of UB spamming, we still have our usual suspects, our Sarens, our Luna, our Yukari, our Yuki even. Yes, you will actually use Yuki on this CB. And some CBs you will use Yuki as well because Yuki charges Kyaru as well. And all they need to do is to charge Kyaru. That's basically everything the team needs to do. Charge Kyaru, make Kyaru kill all the team. Make Kyaru kill the boss. She also has other skills, yeah. She buffs her own magic attack and she is able to provide a physical barrier for her entire teammates. But come on, that's like completely irrelevant. Sure, maybe on UE the magic attack up is actually more important. You don't want to cancel it, but for now, when she has completely irrelevant skills, you can actually just cancel all her skills and just use New Year's Burst as much as possible. There is just one thing to do with her. If you don't pull her, reroll and start the game over. That's basically all you need to do. Also, I would like to give a shout out to competitive CB because when she first launched, she will have some sort of level break. So just wait for your lead and they will tell you the level break for her. For now, you can just icebox her and keep her at level 1 until the time arises, which is on the 26th of December. So I wish you good luck on pulling Kyaru. It's just a day after this video comes live, so yeah, good luck. So this month isn't just about screaming cats. You have the screaming black cat and the screaming orange cat. Well, you don't really this month isn't just about cats, but also about winds, summoner spirits, not Chika, because we just had Chika. But Year Kokoro. You thought original Kokoro was a tank. Now we actually had a dedicated Kokoro tank, so you don't really need to touch your original Kokoro for tanking any further. Year Kokoro is the bulkiest Kokoro of them all. She is a healer with her UB. She heals herself and she heals her teammates, like original Kokoro. But she's also a taunting tank, so something like Kuka or Ruka. Well, they both Kukas. She is also a skill taunt tank, which means that she can absorb random projectiles that are coming to her allies. Something like Magical Girl Kasumi's skill 1, for example, she can absorb it if the timing is synced. But alas, she is more suited to tanking stray hits from enemies, something like auto attacks or unit bursts, something like that. She is also physical DPS support. Her skill 2 is basically like Christmas Chika's UE. She finds the target, the ally with the highest physical attack and gives them more physical attack and physical crit. So yeah, you don't really need to break your Christmas Chika anymore because Kokoro basically does the same thing, but without the break, because Chika is still needed for looping. She is great for all sorts of content, and she's mainly PvP because she's a tank, and also main story. She's actually a really good main story tank because of the raw compression that she provides. No longer needing Misato on her back, just use Kokoro. There's no problem. And she might just see CB used here and there because of her skill too. She does have some necks, maybe early on, like her bond buff are probably HP or something like of that matter, or physical defense. So you do want to take care of that. Don't read her bonds if the bonds turn out to be defensive, so you don't break your original Kokoro any further that you are supposed to. And also Princess Kokoro, because they all share the same buff, and Princess Kokoro is significantly more sensitive towards bond buff, especially early on without bond rework over other Kokoros because of the way that she works. So the welfare for this event as well is also one of very high quality because Year Suzume is one of many faces. You can either have her as one or you can have her as the other. And it's not like say Kokoro, where basically they are just the same. It's just one guy, the other version is just bulky, and then the other version, but the other version can loop and the other does not. Well, this one is more like that, but it's less nuanced. So basically, Year Suzume is what you call a prototype for UE6 because they both will share almost the exact same UB. She has a heal, all allies heal instead of just healing self, but she also grants all allies an additional 60% increase to their action speed, which means that every time she heals, all her allies will get 60% faster on their action speeds, which helps speed up skills significantly, although for the context of what Year Suzume is actually able to do, this is not necessarily the case, although she can find herself fit into something like an Ana team, say like Ana loop. She can make her cast Princess Calling faster. But apart from that, Year Suzume is one of the best healers that you can get if you can actually get her to 3-star or 4-star, something like Misato level. But she is also a very good loop specialist. As I said before, Year Suzume is a healer. And because she's a welfare, she starts at 1-star instead of something like a 3-star or a 2-star. This means that her bow can be significantly tacked out depending on the loop of CB that you are going to use her in, which means that you can have a 2-star Year Suzume completely facilitating loops left and right. If you need Suzume to be less bulky, you can make Suzume just a 2-star or a 1-star. If you need a bulkier Suzume, then you can get her into a 3-star or a 4-star, and so on and so forth. It's basically like Summer EO, where Summer EO there's like versions with her with 2-star and versions with 3-star. And if you don't have her in a set amount of stars, you're locked out of comms for future CBs and whatnot and so on. But however, when her unique equipment drops in December 2023, she gets a stun on her skill 1 where she stuns the backmost enemy and knocks them back quite a significant amount. This punishes careless position 5 units like Rino, like Yuki for example, or Magical Girl Kasumi you put in the back, or someone else and so forth, which basically says that you have to bring Rima or else you're going to get completely destroyed by her. This also comes with the demerit that her unique equipment, much like Chris Mystica, is also defensive. It gives her physical and magical defense, which means that you either have to build her as a loop specialist, like you build her very thinly, you just have her at 3-star or 2-star and just not UE at all, or you Giga Break her and make her a stall god. You can't have both teams set up, you have to have one of the two. Ask your clan leader if you want to make your Year Suzume into a PvP god in the future, but for now, there's a 1-year gap between her UE, so you can definitely get her into a loop specialist mode, which is the 3-star low bulk edition to help with your Ana loops, for example. So that's it from me for this month. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and do not mourn that Nearest Peko is going to be released this year. She's going to be released next year, don't worry. If you like Peko, you just wait 1 more year, easy. So yeah, again, I'm going to really close this video. This is Tofuman signing out.